2023 is almost over, and in its wake, it's left behind a staggering amount of movies, the best of which range from moody horrors to sweet little rom-coms and animated mega-hits to sci-fi mind-benders. There's even the odd murder mystery, political melodrama, and not one but 5 Wes Anderson projects for good measure. It's been a great year all told, full of daring tales and stunning directorial debuts, and it's also been 12 months of big changes. The actors and writers' strike spent months shaking the very foundations of Hollywood, whilst big franchises such as the MCU and Mission Impossible have failed to bring profit. There's a good chance 2023 represents a turning point in the way that we make and consume movies. Even Marvel have dialed back their upcoming output with only one movie slated to release next year, which bodes well for the typically overlooked non-blockbuster films that tend to get buried by the box office year after year after year. And as a quick note, the films included in this list are subject to a wide UK release date, so whilst they surely would have made the cut, the likes of Poor Things, The Holdovers, and The Boy and the Heron won't be included here. But watch out for next year's rundown. So I'm Adam, this is What Culture, and here are 20 best movies of 2023. But before we jump in, I do want to do some honorable mentions, and as noted, Wes Anderson brought the goods this year with the brilliantly funny Asteroid City, as well as some amusing short films for Netflix led by the charming, wonderful story of Henry Sugar. Elsewhere, How to Blow Up a Pipeline gave audiences a galvanizing call to arms regarding climate change. Annette Bening and Jodie Foster brought stunning authenticity to the sports drama Naiad, and Bottoms demonstrated some new over-the-top dimensions to the sex-fueled teen comedy. Some more underseen gems this year include the intoxicating character study Blue Jean, the uncompromising thriller Sisu, the quietly devastating courtroom drama Saint Omer, and the delightfully odd Mind F Dream Scenario, which features a Nick Cage performance for the ages. This has also been a big year for blockbusters despite dwindling financial returns, with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, if it's still going by that name, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 delivering enough to make up for their poor box office performances. The list goes on. Make sure you also see Air, Blackberry, The Beasts, Totem, The Creator, Saltburn, Priscilla, Babylon, Mutant Mayhem, Godzilla Minus One, Elemental, 1001, About Dry Grasses. But for now, let's dig into the top contenders. Number 20, Rye Lane. What's most impressive about this debut from Rain Allen Miller is how utterly enveloping it is, following two heartbroken souls as they meet, fall in love, and move through South London basking in each other's company, before prematurely going their own separate ways. Visually sublime, Rye Lane sounds simple on paper, but Alan Miller's keen eye for the quirks and nuances of newfound romance is effortlessly its own beast. Thanks to the actors' chemistry and Alan Miller's naturalistically funny, empathetic script, it never feels burdened by the pitfalls of the rom-com. Clocking in at barely 80 minutes, this particular romance feels truly honest, clearly born from a place of deep personal experience. Even if you're a romantic cynic, watching Dom and Yas open their hearts again, set against such a vibrant backdrop, will surely make you a believer. Number 19, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Adapting a novel as forthright and intimate as Are You There Yet, God? It's Me, Margaret was never going to be an easy task. Its personal tale of teenage woes, a prickly topic that could have felt manipulative or outright insensitive in the wrong hands. Thankfully, under the watchful eye of director Kelly Freeman Craig, It's Me, Margaret strikes the perfect chord between profundity and amusement, following Margaret as she tackles her uncertain faith, puberty, and rocky friendships after her family relocate to a new state. Earnest and refreshingly frank, Craig's follow-up to her previous hit, The Edge of 17, soars with a compassionate cast and authenticity, engaging the many pangs of youthful discord with a hopeful message and empathetic honesty. Number 18, The 8 Mountains. A reoccurring theme coloring many of this year's greatest films has been the concept of reunions, following two characters separated by time and circumstance who fatefully reconnect in a life-altering way. Such is the case with The 8 Mountains, a drama about two childhood friends searching for meaning in adulthood. Shot in the beautiful Italian Alps and throughout Nepal, the visually arresting tale concerns two childhood friends who reunite to build a cabin in the mountains, reconnecting along the way as they confront their philosophies, grief, and shifting relationships. Deeply atmospheric, its haunting score and quietly devastating performances blend in perfectly with awe-inspiring scenery to craft a story as intimate as it is spiritual and sincere. Anyone who has lost a friend along the way is certain to be bowled over by its conclusions, which sneak up on you with a heartbreaking force at every turn. Number 17. Fallen Leaves. Fallen Leaves follows two lonely souls whose seemingly obvious happy ever after falls out of reach, despite their best efforts. It's a love story that feels doomed from the start, but it never becomes too bleak. Rather, the so close, so far of it all is beautifully endearing. An acute and particular comedy drama in which every shot tells a story of its own, it is a life-affirming tale that tackles love, politics, and working-class living with great care, never wasting a moment as its characters come face to face with their own uncertainties and futures. Number 16. Talk to Me. Now, if existential dramas aren't your thing, 2023 also delivered its fair share of horror flicks, the best of which is surely the atmospheric thriller about an embalmed hand that allows a group of young partygoers the ability to become possessed by the dead. Mayhem ensues, of course, but the great strength of Talk to Me is that it never becomes indulgent in its own character's torment, instead keeping its scares simple and claustrophobic, whilst its lingering mysteries build up to a sinister and bone-chilling finale. Its tension amplified by a terrific Sophie Wilde, Talk to Me's great set pieces, unsettling practical effects, and confrontational emotional intensity makes it a clever horror film with tricks to spare, whilst each more shocking and vital than the last. Its upcoming sequel has a lot riding on its shoulders. Number 15. Passages. It takes a special kind of film to make an unlikable character sympathetic, especially when that sympathy is deeply unearned and hard to reconcile. But Passengers makes it look easy, with its protagonist Thomas a relentless narcissist who's at once relatable and abhorrent. The story of a gay man who pursues an affair with a woman, Passages makes its leading man a villain, then cleverly strips his layers away to reveal hidden depths of repressed feeling. It's a brutal love triangle he creates, as devastating as it is transformative. At once thrilling, sexy, disquieting, and frank in its depiction of a failing relationship and its fallout, Passages makes for a stunning, bracing, and confrontational character study that proves to be a wickedly grand time. Number 14. Suzume. Another gleaming addition to the flawless catalog of Makoto Shinkai, Suzume may just be the filmmaker's greatest achievement, a fantastical, visually intricate tale of growing up, saving the world, falling in love, and confronting what it means to stand tall in the face of adversary and self-doubt. Suzume plays like a road movie, following its eponymous heroine as she races through Japan, closing portals that could lead to a cataclysmic event should they be left unsealed. Along the way, she makes new friends, encounters past loss, and confronts the shifting uncertainty of her unwritten future. Beautifully rendered with colorful, vibrant animation, and as funny as it is moving, Suzume is a perfect companion piece to Shinkai's other endeavors, especially his previous effort, Weathering with You. Another masterpiece that brilliantly balances profound humanity with epic fantasy without losing sight of its message. Number 13. Anatomy of a Fall. The film stars Sandra Hüller as a woman attempting to convince a courtroom she had no part in the death of her late husband, who fell from the second-floor window of their home under unknown circumstances after a battle with depression. At its most basic level, a thrilling courtroom drama, Anatomy of a Fall is so rich in ambiguity and flawed, painful human characters that it quickly reveals itself as an acute assessment of truth and how different people can have radically different memories of an event. Timely and powerfully performed, the thriller races to its finale with deeply felt dialogue and an unshakable view of marriage, parenthood, and mental illness. It's a confrontational affair, simultaneously heartbreaking and hopeful, and what it has to say about memory will linger on the mind for days after the credits roll. Number 12. John Wick Chapter 4. The closing chapter of the John Wick saga, well, for now, John Wick Chapter 4 is surely one of the finest action films of the last 20 years, so overflowing with kinetic brawls and explosive gunfights it would honestly border on overbearing were it not so hypnotically creative. Following Keanu Reeves' jaded hitman as he races to reclaim his freedom from a system that won't let him rest, Chapter 4's epic runtime clocking in at almost 3 hours, gives its characters ample opportunity to kick ass, but also plenty of chances to reconcile their pasts. Reeves, fired up more than ever, is joined in his latest adventure by a scene-stealing Donnie Yen and villainous Bill Skarsgård, while Chad Stahelski's propulsive direction leaves no room for wasted opportunity. Surprisingly touching and amazingly action-packed, Chapter 4 is a flawless piece of blockbuster entertainment. Number 11. Barbie. The year's most talked about film, Barbie is a wondrous feat of imagination and daring which is more than deserving of the vast acclaim and popularity it's secured since its release. No one knew what to expect from Greta Gerwig's vision for this, but if you ever questioned if she'd deliver, it's safe to say that deliver she did. Gerwig's colourful, timely comedy follows a Barbie who's escaped from Barbieland after her seemingly perfect existence is uprooted by questions of mortality. The adventure that follows is as funny as it is socially conscious and unflinching. Joined by a show-stopping light-footed Ryan Gosling, Gerwig's descent into the complexities of gender discrimination and a world far messier than expected makes for a brilliantly fun, briefly heartbreaking time, full of startling dramatic beats, iconic musical numbers, and impressively vibrant set pieces. Number 10. Return to Seoul. Return to Seoul, the second feature from director Davey Hsu, boasts a simple but affecting premise. Freddie is a French adoptee who travels to South Korea in search of her biological parents, and in the process finds her worlds, the life she's lived, and the life that could have been hers collide. Gracefully paced, Hsu's personal odyssey into Freddie's questions of identity and home is intimate and melodic, following her as she contends with her worldview and attempts to keep her openly hopeful facade alive. Brought to life with gorgeous imagery, Return to Seoul is a character study of resounding power, digging into the life of one woman as she allows us to see every inch of herself, even the parts she wasn't aware of. A guaranteed modern classic. Number 9. Showing Up. Showing Up is a film for our times, a contemplative work that assesses the desire to pursue artistic passion in a world that doesn't always allow for it. It moves like a poem come to life and delivers a piercing, ultimately hopeful treatise about creating art against society's obstacles. Starring Michelle Williams as a passionate sculptor torn between her work, her day job, family, and relationships, balancing her time in a rocky juggling act, the drama is both heartfelt and light-footed, grounded in its messy appreciation of an artist's lot by a typically powerful Williams and scene-stealing Hong Chow. Never manipulative and always eye-opening, Showing Up delivers a hopeful, beautiful tour de force that makes it clear art is always great as long as its creator believes in it. Number 8. The Cow Who Sang a Song in the Future. The Cow Who Sang a Song into the Future makes for an impressive juggling act of story and tone, following a fractured family whose deceased matriarch mysteriously returns from the dead and finds the world she once knew to be far removed from what she remembers. Though this sounds simple enough, if bizarre, the drama also doubles as an environmental parable about the way humans have damaged the world around them. Magical realism and domestic drama, The Cow Who Sang balances big ideas with intimate human relationships. Grounded in its surreal imagery by a silent but profound Maestro, who imbues the film's various themes with palpable heartbreak, joy, and love, The Cow Who Sang a Song into the Future won't be for everyone given its twisty fantasy and slow burn intensity, but it will leave you in awe of its bold and singular vision regardless. Number 7. Earth Mama. The feature-length debut of former athlete Savannah Leaf, based on her and actress Taylor Russell's short film The Heart Still Hums, is surely one of this year's most underrated productions. An often heartbreaking look at single motherhood prevailing against instrumental odds. Its emotional weight driven by crushing silences and a deeply atmospheric score, Earth Mama follows our protagonist as she attempts to restore her family and combat the very systems that are supposed to protect her, a journey colored with evocative dream sequences and tender, unflinching veracity. An equally bleak, beautiful look at womanhood and community, Leaf's careful direction allows Gia's story to be at once her own and representative of a world often unexplored, tackling misogyny, racial bias, gender equality, and generational trauma with a powerfully humanistic eye that eventually becomes truly life-changing. Number 6. Oppenheimer. Few films released this year have garnered quite as much fanfare and discussion as Christopher Nolan's epic biopic Oppenheimer, which follows J. Robert Oppenheimer as he fights political persecution and races to build the world's first atomic bomb. Despite clocking in at over 3 hours, Nolan's latest technical marvel never feels ponderous or overwrought. Its rapid-fire dialogue, time jumps, and race-against-time structure allow it to zip by like a brisk thriller. One so informative, harrowing, and visually stunning it becomes impossible to look away from. Anchored by Cillian Murphy's performance as a man as brilliant as he was haunted, as well as incredible turns from Robert Downey Jr., Emily Blunt, and Florence Pugh, Nolan's biopic is one of his finest achievements to date. Full of such daring invention and poignant insight, it leaves you gasping for breath and hoping for a brighter future. Number 5. May December. As surely the year's most discomforting film, May December tackles its tricky subject matter with humor and almost horror-tinged undertones, grounding its unsettling drama in the transformative performances of Julianne Moore, Natalie Portman, and a breakout Charles Melton. The story of an actress researching the role of a lifetime, Todd Haynes' haunting character study concerns a teacher who married her student after their relationship started when he was just 13. Ambiguous, surprising, tender, and unnerving, it's a difficult sit rife with twists and big questions. A film that requires its audience to push through what's presented on screen and what's actually taking place, May December is as deceptive as its central character, but also as heartbreaking as the boy at the center of her life. It's a daring, fact-based melodrama and features an unforgettable trio of performances. Number 4. Maestro. Bradley Cooper's second turn in the director's chair proves that A Star Is Born wasn't a fluke, but rather the start of a career destined to go from strength to strength. Maestro is epic, bold, romantic, tragic, and filled with some of the most exquisitely crafted sequences of the year. Brilliantly, the drama also features the best performance of Cooper's career, his turn as renowned composer Leonard Bernstein, a transformative feat that is at once deeply heartfelt and poignantly flawed. He's matched by Carey Mulligan at every turn, her portrayal of Bernstein's wife Felicia offering the film its emotional center. Shifting between full-color and black-and-white cinematography, Cooper's passion project leaves no stone unturned in Bernstein and his family's story, a tale as achingly human as it is thrilling. Whatever Cooper does next, it seems likely he's just getting started. Number 3. Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. The most dazzlingly animated film of the year, Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse continues the saga of Miles Morales by dramatically expanding its multiverse without losing sight of the touching coming-of-age character drama at its center. Following Miles as he faces new foe the Spot and tentatively teams up with a group of new Spider-People led by the menacing Spider-Man 2099, Across the Spiderverse powerfully juxtaposes the stories of Miles and Gwen Stacy as their lives take radically different paths. Visually daring and action-packed, this sequel is every bit as funny, moving, and creatively brave as its predecessor, but all the more affecting. Miles and Gwen, separated and brought together again by a world pushing against them, face their shifting identities and latest villains with thrilling, intensely rewatchable results. Number 2. Killers of the Flower Moon. With his latest film, Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese has delivered one of his finest achievements of his long and eminent career, as well as his most emotionally devastating, anchored by haunting imagery, piercing historical accuracy, and a host of compelling performances. Set in the 1920s and focused on a series of murders committed against the Osage Nation by opportunistic crime boss William Hale in order to claim their oil-rich land, the galvanizing drama primarily focuses on Leonardo DiCaprio's sniveling war veteran and his embattled Osage wife, Molly. Capturing the ugly horror and uncertainty of a time when Osage lives were lost at an extreme rate to little attention, Killers of the Flower Moon finds Scorsese at his most unflinchingly confrontational, crafting a tale of mortality, grief, and inexplicable injustice that ends with his single most heartbreaking finale. Number 1. Past Lives. The best film of 2023. Celine Song's remarkable debut, Past Lives, continues this year's reoccurring theme of reunions and fateful human connection with such delicacy, authenticity, and tenderness that its inevitable farewell still leaves you reeling long after the credits have finished rolling. The story of two childhood sweethearts who were separated by relocations, careers, and marriage, Song's romantic drama takes a deep dive into what it means to reconnect with the people you no longer know, and consider paths not taken, for better and for worse. Seamlessly directed and emotionally amplified by an evocative musical score, Past Lives is a stunning examination of unconditional friendship and love, complete with poetic imagery and some of the year's finest performances. A hopeful but heart-wrenching journey, it's also this year's magnum opus. But which movie is your favorite of this year? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll catch you next time.